Hello everyone and welcome back once again for the assignment for week 11, the research paper outline. As far as I can tell, I got the vast majority of students who submitted and correctly completed, I would say, on the research paper summary outline, primary points of support and work cited, at least in terms of the framing and everything else. I mean, there's some sentence level things, but even those this time seem to have been improved upon, going from the memoir and then rhetorical analysis, and then here I've seen fewer sentence level issues and even formatting things that have been a problem throughout. So it looks like more students are going through their feedback and actually addressing line by line things that are itemized there. Make sure that you do that throughout. Make sure that with this, once we move from this paper outline into the drafting next week, if you still need sentence level critique, I'm not doing a discussion board with this, so make sure that you utilize that ASC tutoring. Remember, one is required for the semester, but they are applicable at any time. Even that first one gets you extra credit, and all the additional ones do as well, and it gets you an additional set of eyes on this before you're submitting a draft. Now, on here, the research paper, remember this is third-person objective, MLA formatted, the formal analytic, not argumentative research approach, including any analysis. That means you will not be using I or you in any of your description, no we or us, just third-person objective. Keep this in the area of analysis. The points that were given prior about these topics seem to have been adhered to. Most of you seem to be going right in a deliberately into and sticking with a clear research approach where you're just looking for the content to support what the topic is and whether or not it's effective for people in different areas, the relevancy of it. Starting point or question for consideration is already given for each of the topics. I included some of this from the prior Dropbox so that it will be included. For instance, we come down here and some of these content things that are included is just a review on this, the basic requirements for the essay that are coming, and a reminder here at the beginning of the textbooks and what you guys are doing in the framing of these contextually. This is all the information that was placed on the prior, and for some of you these would be very helpful for reviewing again about quote format. Remember, the easiest way and the most concise is to frame them as major support claims, followed by a quote as a minor support, and then your explanation or defense of the quote as a further minor support. That's outlined here. It's also outlined in the prior Dropbox. It was also outlined for the rhetorical analysis for one quote that was included there, and then it's detailed again on the outline piece itself. So everybody will download the template here and make sure that you understand the instructions, read through all of those. Note the abstract that is included here. It's an outline with abstract and works cited. An abstract is a new type of paragraph that you haven't worked with this semester. This is something that on a report, it is done after you complete the report itself, so you're going to write the paper as a report. This is not a standard research paper. This is not, we're doing this as an amalgamation between something of an essay, which is a research paper, and the report itself. We're going to include an abstract like we would on a report. The rest of the layout for research, we're not doing the methods and discussion and those things. We're just doing this as a simple paper with the abstract included. So that's nothing anyone needs to concern themselves with at this stage. You'll do more of report writing in if you go on from this into perhaps business writing or a 1520 comp that includes some of those things, and especially for APA framing of your different research. A lot of those will turn into report assignments. Note on the outline here, the abstract will come after the outline itself. That's by design here. A researcher does not know what goes into an abstract until the rest of the research paper components have been completed, so the abstract will be located at the end until drafting. So for this week, you're going to complete the outline with the general specific intro, the bodies, the conclusion, and then after that, you're going to have an abstract where you fill out those components. Then when we go into drafting, you're going to move that before the entirety of the essay, and I'll go through that in a moment. The outline, directions, and requirements. You're writing in full sentences with developed ideas and support. Draw on the content generated from your summary and working thesis, primary supports, and works cited, and your research to meet the following requirements. All component requirements are included in detail on the template. So it's everything that's here is also reiterated down on the template itself. With these, this is referring to the prior assignment. If you did your summary, working thesis, points of support, and works cited correctly last week, you're already ready to go forward with this and have most of these details to write out. Write in full sentences and proofread your writing for sentence level issues. I only have a few students who still seem to be floundering in this area, but make sure that you're going through and getting some type of additional support for those. All content must be written in third-person objective viewpoint, no first or second. No contractions in a formal style like this. Organize a general to specific intro that clearly explains the topic and content, and the intro with the thesis. Give topic sentences at the start of each body paragraph, introducing a primary point of support for this thesis. Give the reader adequate support of the topic claims with both major and minor supporting details. That's detailed below here on the prior drop box, the ones for rhetorical analysis as well. Some of you already touched on it with argument before I change that assignment. Give 2 quotes per body. You're going to have 3 body paragraphs to support 2 different major supporting detail claims. So in each one of your 3 bodies, you're going to use 2 quotes as minor supports to back up a claim you make. So that means that you'll have 6 quotes total for the entire paper when we're done. And remember, the paper itself only needs to be 3 pages. It'll be over that once you add your works cited in your abstract. Absolutely, it'll be closer to a 4-page, 4.5 for a lot of you right off the bat. Follow quote formatting, see below in template, complete the conclusion components, the abstract components, and the works cited page. So for the template itself, download the template. Make sure that when you open it up, you are looking at the same document I have here. It should say research paper outline at the top. It is research paper for fall 22. The components are all listed here. Note in red, I know that mine is reverse of a lot of yours. Some of you like to keep your screen in the white with black writing on it. I do. I switch mine over for this, so I know that this can be confuse students if you keep yours with a white background. This is just a reverse. In the outline template provided below, write in full sentences and organize the ideas of your research report. Keep everything in the third-person objective viewpoint, no contractions. The boxes below represent the general to specific intro, 3 body paragraphs, the conclusion, and the abstract that will appear on the draft of your paper. That'll be a total of 6 separate paragraphs. And again, the general to specific, 3 bodies, the conclusion with the heading, that'll be 3 pages requirement. And then the abstract and the works cited will be additional. So those will be, depending on how long your abstract is and how long the citations are for your works cited, usually anywhere between 3 3/4 to just over 4 pages on something like this in total. The paper itself, your writing itself will be 3. For each body paragraph, provide 2 direct quotes from peer-reviewed articles to support claims made in the bodies, 2 quotes per body, and include an in-text citation for each. You're familiar with those if you've done the reading and gone through the videos, including the one from last week too. These sources must be peer-reviewed articles found through OCC databases listed on the works cited page. And remember, they must be peer-reviewed and full text available. This is the 3rd week now, I think, that we've had that specifically covered and reviewed. For the work below, again, remove any of the examples. I include a number of them here, and I try to differentiate and label them as examples so you know to take them out. General statement in 1 to 2 sentences, open with the general framing of the topic. There's an example here, right? During the last few decades, I use as an example topic music therapy, what it is and how it works. I don't give you specific details drawn from the reports. I give you general pieces on here that you can see to indicate the framing and phrasing for each component. During the last few decades, a number of therapies have emerged that attempt to aid with whatever. You're going to make the opening statement on there as a general one to get us in this area of additional types of therapies, particularly those for dealing with some cognitive and physical issues. Specific statement in 1 to 2 sentences, give an example of a similar topic to establish context. This has been the same through memoir all the way till now. For instance, cognitive behavioral therapy was developed in the 1960s by Aaron Beck in order to try and address specific types of disorders, including some of those that were behavioral that did not seem to, you go into your basic details here to establish context. That's something that's in the same exact area of music therapy, even some of the same treatments that are used, or attempting to address some of the similar things. This gives us an example to establish context, and now in the Your Topic section is where you'll switch into yours. You tell the reader what your topic is and give any necessary background and historical information the reader will need to understand the topic, its relevance. The number of sentences typically varies between 3 to 6. Shoot for a minimum of 3, 6, once you get beyond 6, typically you're going into more detail than would be necessary here in the intro, especially if we have an abstract that ends up before it, but this is done first. Similarly, the concept of music therapy was pioneered by so-and-so in order to address issues with and give the following information. Again, these examples, you remove these before writing your own. So a sample of a templated thesis here is given here at the bottom. For each of the body paragraphs, writing in full sentences again, give a topic sentence in the first box, followed by supporting details in the second. The supporting details must include 2 quotes from peer-reviewed, full-text available sources from OCC databases. Quotes need to be formatted in quote format. See the prior in the drop box, the layout described in the drop boxes of these last 2, and argumentation. The sample layout is provided for body 1. Be sure to remove all examples and write your own major and minor supports as you complete the content. So, body paragraph 1, all the details here are given in a template form. You need to remove all of these. That doesn't mean you can't leave one example, for instance, this quote, another example, for example, as they are detailed down here. It doesn't mean you can't keep those. You certainly can if this framing matches exactly what you're doing with your major and minor supports. This is given as an example of the layout of how yours might be laid. I have a minimum of 10 here, so we need a minimum of 10 supporting statements. In 10 supporting statements minimum, that means you have a major, a major, a major, and a major. All from these ones here with the major supports. That's a total of 4 for this body. If you're including 2 with quotes, that means out of 10, if you meet these requirements, you'll be using 4 major supportive claims. Right? So 4 statements, 4 examples that support the claim you make in your topic sentence. So if you say one of the primary benefits of using musical therapy has been shown in the cognitive response of individuals who are going through some type of a rehabilitation program, well then these 4 here should be 4 different examples of that benefit to the cognitive response. Right? So one example, this can be seen in the cognitive response in such and such area. For instance, the article primary this states the following. You give the quote as a minor support, give your citation. After that, you give an actual statement that the transitional phrasing is this quote shows, proves, demonstrates, or whatever you're going to select. But you must make sure that you reinforce this claim, reinforce this quote as support by explaining what it demonstrates or proves in regard to the claim here. Okay, it's major support, minor support, minor support. That is the typical framing that's expected for any usage of a quote as a point of support. So again, you got this one starts with a major support here, and then it gives the minor as a quote, minor as the defense, and then another example of this, and we're moving our transitional elementation here into the next major support. So this one is not using a quote for support. So this one is just a major followed by a single minor. Here I have it framed with a third example where it uses a quote again. So we have major support, minor support, minor support. Those 3 are together. Then at the end, a major support followed by simple minor support. That means for 2 of them, excuse me, that means that if you do this type of a framing, for 2 of these, the major supports using quotes, those are going to have 3 sentences apiece. That comes out to 6. So then you have 2 more major supports with just 2. So that's your other 4. So in combination, you have 6 that are bound up in quoting format, and the other 2 are just major minor support. This is a very basic framing that everyone should be able to follow on here. Okay. Now, in this framing, when we're doing this, we know that repeats. You're removing all those, and you have a conclusion statement. And as I said, in each one of these bodies, you're writing in full sentences. You can follow this framing, or you can adjust it. You might start with a major, just a major, minor. And then down here, after we finish with those, we get to our conclusion paragraph in 1 to 2 sentences, your thesis, primary topic information, your overall evaluation, and then the components for the abstract. If you've done all of this, explain what the topic is, why it's important, objective of the research, why would we evaluate this, how the research was conducted for the paper, you did OCC databases for peer-reviewed sources, explain some primary findings, and then offer concluding thoughts. Once those are finished, the last thing to do is complete your works cited page. All right, do this in order. I look forward to seeing you guys. Best of luck.